today's session, I will continue the concept of classification of costs on the basis of variability or behavior, and I will be focusing on variable cost, its meaning and characteristics, semi-variable costs or semi-fixed costs, its meaning and characteristics, and also about step costs, its meaning and characteristics. Let me briefly explain the meaning of variable cost. They are those costs which vary in total in direct proportion to the change in the volume of output. In other words, it is one in which the aggregate varies in direct proportion to the volume of production. The important features of variable cost are: total variable costs change in proportion with change in volume of output. Unit variable cost, that is variable cost per unit of output, remains constant in a given period of time. Variable costs are called product costs as they are incurred because products are manufactured and not because of passage of time. Direct material cost and direct labor cost are good examples of variable costs. Indirect factory material, office supplies, sales expenses, commission, etc. are some other examples of variable costs. Relationship between variable cost and output can be shown as a straight line. It is called linear variable cost. Graphical representation of linear variable costs highlights the features of variable costs. We can observe from the graph that the total variable cost increases with the increase in the level of output, whereas the unit variable cost remains constant with the increase in output. What are semi-variable or semi-fixed costs? Semi-variable costs are partly variable and partly fixed. They have both fixed and variable elements. Therefore, sometimes they are called mixed costs or step costs. Why semi-variable costs fluctuate or remain constant? Because of the variable component, they fluctuate with volume. Because of the fixed component, they do not change in direct proportion to output. It should be noted that semi-variable costs are basically variable costs, but their degree of variability is not in direct proportion to the change in level of output. Semi-fixed costs remains constant up to certain level of output, and after that level they become variable. Let me quote two examples. One is depreciation. Due to passage of time remains constant whether the use of machinery is stopped or speeded up. However, with successive increase in the use of machinery, there is greater physical depreciation through wear and tear. The cost of depreciation may be split up into fixed cost and variable cost. Telephone expense is another good example. It has a fixed part of periodic fixed charge and a variable charge which changes according to the number of calls made. Observe the graph. Graphical representation of semi-fixed and semi-variable costs. Step-up costs. A step cost is a cost which remains constant for given volume of output, and at a higher level of output it increases in a fixed amount. For example, supervision cost. One supervisor is required to supervise 15 workers in the factory. His monthly salary is rupees 6,000. So long as 15 workers or less than that are working, the supervision cost will be rupees 6,000 per month. But as soon as the 16th worker is employed, another supervisor is to be employed, and the cost of supervision increases from rupees 6,000 to rupees 12,000. Step cost has both fixed and variable elements. Therefore, often it is treated as semi-variable cost. With this, I end my session on classification of cost on the basis of behavior.